I'm Jim Juback, and welcome to my YouTube video for Wednesday, April 12th. Before we get to the market, we're going to delve into my psyche, or my 13-year-old psyche. Over the weekend, I went to see a movie that scared me to death when I was 13. This is the William Cameron Menzies version of Invaders from Mars, remade by Tobe Hooper, but hey. So I went to see whether it would scare me as much. What I remember was being 13 and I grew up, so this would have been 1963. So this was right in the middle of the Cold War. And we did duck and cover exercises in high school because nuclear bombs were going to fall. I grew up in New Jersey, so we knew we were going to get wiped out. I somehow imagined that there'd be a nuclear war and my parents and all the other adults would get wiped out, but I would survive. And I had these elaborate fantasies about what life would be like without any adults. Well, the thing in Invaders from Mars is that a spaceship lands in a suburban neighborhood and crashes into a field behind a house. The scary thing about it is that field looked really like the one I played in. The spaceship dug in and then proceeded to really capture all of the adults in the neighborhood and insert little controllers in them, and they would come back and they'd be really mean. And of course, as 13, what you really don't want is your parents disappearing and coming back mean. On the other hand, you really suspected that you didn't need invaders from Mars because they were really mean underneath anyway. Anyway, so that's me at 13. All right, so today's topic is earnings season blues. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's free. You get notification when we do the next one. We're doing about 3 a week, not always on the same day. If you want more of my stuff, you can go to my free site. That's jubackpicks.com. The 3 portfolios, including a dividend portfolio, which might be really attractive right now. And that's free. And then there's my paid site, jubackam.com. That's got 6 portfolios, which for this market includes a very interesting portfolio with ETFs and then one with options plays. Good for this market. You'll find links to those down below. Okay. Earnings season blues. What we're really looking at is an earnings recession, or maybe more. That first quarter earnings are going to start to come in with big bank earnings on Friday, the 14th or so, whatever that is. And they're going to be following on fourth quarter 2022 earnings, where we actually had a drop of about 4.6% year over year. That's unusual. Most of the time earnings go up. You get inflation pushing them up. Projected first quarter drop is 6.8%, even bigger. So that would be 2 negative quarters in a row. And then for the fourth quarter, for the sort of piece de resistance, for the second quarter, we're projected to have another decline of about 4.6%. These are year over year declines. So what we're looking at is the effects of inflation, higher costs, slowing demand. I saw this morning that we've got another price cut from Tesla. Just a sign of the iceberg, where most of the iceberg is underneath. I think a lot of companies are seeing exactly the same problem. So what's interesting to me is if you look at a chart, this is the S&P for 1 year. You'll notice that if you look at sort of December of 22 on, we're not looking at a whole lot of movement. We're looking at a market that's basically in a range. Whether we're going to see something happen here, here's the high on February 2nd. The high on April 4th is lower, so a lower high. We haven't yet seen lower lows, but we could be looking at a downward trend here. What's interesting to me is we've got all this really negative news on earnings and the market not going anywhere. What I would basically argue is we've got a kind of battle going on between declining earnings and hopes that the Fed is going to bail out the market by cutting interest rates sometime in 23, 24. And that's been balancing this so that we have had basically trading within a range depending on whether people are optimistic and pessimistic about one or the other. The market breaks down, of course, if this balance gets skewed either by continued negative earnings, which we're going to see, and by disappointment about the pace at which the Fed might cut interest rates. So we're going to see, I'm filming this on Tuesday. On Wednesday, the 12th, we're going to actually see new inflation numbers. The thing there to look at is whether inflation is coming down fast enough so the Fed will cut rates when the market anticipates, or at least go into pause. Market is saying, hey, we're going to see another 25 basis points in May, but that might be the last one. So we'll see whether the decline in inflation, which I think we're going to get, although the core numbers look like they might actually go up, is enough to take the Fed out of this game and keep this equilibrium going while earnings disappoint. So thanks for watching. It's been Jim Juback. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. That way you get notification when we do the next one. If you want more of my stuff for free, go to my free site. It's JubackPicks.com. 3 portfolios, including a dividend portfolio. Want even more of my stuff? Go to Juback. It's my subscription site, Juback AM. And it's got 6 portfolios, including ETFs and some options plays. Thanks very much for watching.